Waste is one of the big issues of our time, and I want you to come over here now where we have all of these coffee cups. You see all of these here in front of me. There are 1,000 cups here. That's the amount of cups we use in Ireland every 3 minutes or so. It's an incredible 22,000 cups every single hour, and we'll be talking more about that in a minute, but I want to sort of test your knowledge now on recycling, because I have some items here beside me, and I am going to ask our audience whether these items go in the black bin, the waste bin, or the green recycling bin. What do you say to this? It's a piece of the green bin, and that is correct. I didn't know that when I started this today. This one, a tin. Green bin, very good. Right, let's make it a little bit more difficult now. Okay, we have this water bottle here. What do we think? Green bin. Well, you're right to an extent, but because this has water in it, you cannot put that straight in. You've got to empty it. Also, you see the label on here? Soft plastic has to come off, has to go before you can put it in here. So I'm not putting that into my green bin. Let's take a look at this. People will be familiar with this. A popular brand of crisps. Where do you think this goes? Black bin. And the reason it goes in the black bin is because it has some sort of metal on the bottom and it has plastic on the top and cardboard here, but it's funny old cardboard, and I'm not sure quite whether it's recyclable, so that's not going in my green bin either. Actually, it's going in the black. Right. This. Ignore the fact that this still has liquid in it. Pretend it's empty. Where does it go? It's a cleaning fluid bottle. Green bin, but you have to take it apart before you put it into the green bin, because it has soft plastic straw in the middle and it has some sort of a metal spring in here, so it can't go straight into the green bin either. It has to go into the black bin. And we'll take one more. This thing, vegetable stir fry packet, hard plastic here, soft plastic here. Where does it go? Who said that? Who said that? Well done. Any soft plastic has to come off, go into the black bin, and the hard plastic has to go into the green bin. So I'm not going to put that in there either. Right. Hope you learned something from that. I certainly did in my education today. Oisin Coghlan, I want to come to you on this. The problem with all of this is it's hugely complicated, and you have to be fairly knowledgeable to know what you can recycle and what you can't. And what you're saying is reduce the amount of waste that you're using, because recycling isn't really the answer. Is that right?
Well, it's part of the answer, but it's the end-of-pipe solution. And I think people and shoppers are trying to do their best. And the government has been trying to simplify things and saying rigid plastic in your green bin, soft plastic in your black bin. But the truth is we've doubled the amount of plastic packaging we're using in Ireland since 2011, and we're not recycling all of it. And as we're seeing, not all of it is recyclable. So we're doing our bit as shoppers, but we need supermarkets to do more. We need to get choice to use less plastic in the first place. By reducing
the amount of packaging that's there in the first place and stop layering stuff.
Yes, it's very hard if you go into your local supermarket to find loose fruit and vegetables, for example, and if you do, they're almost always more expensive. We were surveying our supporters recently about how they found supermarkets since we did this Day of Action a year ago, and running up to do it again last Saturday. Have they found improvements? And there are some supermarkets making changes, but they're saying when there are loose vegetables, for example, they often are always more expensive.
Seamus Clancy's here from Repak. You're very welcome, Seamus. Packaging is a big business, isn't it?
Oh, packaging is a big business in Ireland, about 1 million tonnes, but, you know, Repak, believe it or not, we're an environmental organisation at the end of the day. We're one of the top recyclers in Europe. We're up there with the leaders right across the board. And we're also part of everyday life in Ireland. You know, the 1.2 million bins that are outside your households is there for convenience to actually recycle material. The 1,900 bottle banks right throughout the country and the 120 civic community sites. Repak members fund all of that and put 450 million into it since the inception. And when you think about it, 20 years ago, we were at the bottom of the recycling league in Europe. We're now at the top of it.
But when it comes to the deposit return scheme, if people want to bring things back, you lobbied against that. Why?
No, we didn't lobby against it. You know, what we did say is before we do anything, and we welcome what the Minister is doing at the moment, he's actually reviewing the whole process. But we're saying, please have a good look at it, do an environmental and a financial review before you start. Today, we're actually recycling 74% of all bottles. That's of our members' bottles. And we're doing very well on that. We have to get to 77% by 2025 and 90% by 2030. So do we want to go about spending 120 million setting it up, another 40 million at least per annum to actually run and operate it. For what might be a marginal gain could be actually an increased carbon footprint by duplication of collection. It also would mean that we probably need 3,000 stores in this country to have actually deposit return machines there.
Okay, well,
so who's going to pay for all that?
Let's talk. Who is going to pay for it, Oisin? And you know, what if it doesn't work? And as Seamus says, 74% of this stuff is being recycled.
The last figures I've seen from the EPA are 65. I'm glad to hear if Seamus is seeing progress on the ground. That's
Yes.
a good thing. We have to get to 90% under the new EU targets by 2030, and the only places that currently have 90% recycling of plastic bottles are places with deposit and return schemes. So it's from Michigan State to Germany to some of the Nordic countries. They're doing it. It works.
Will you tell me how it works? Just because we're not familiar with it here. So how does it work?
Their basic system is that you put a deposit when you buy a. It used to happen on glass bottles in the 1970s and 80s. Now it happens on plastic bottles. You put a 10-cent or 20-cent deposit back when you buy the bottle of water or soft drinks, and then when you can bring back the bottle to a reverse vending machine mostly, and you put the bottle in. It's compacted on site, and you get a token that you can spend in the shop where the vending machine is, or in the local shops where if it's shared by a number of shops.
Well, we did a poll on this today. We asked 1,000 adults. Our Morg smartphone panel is what we used. Here's the question: would you use a deposit return scheme for plastic, glass, and cans? Take a look at the result. 89%, Seamus, said that they would, and 6% said they wouldn't. Are you surprised at that?
Not in the least. It's broadly in line with what we expect ourselves. But to put this in context again, you know, glass, for instance, we're actually already recycling 88% of glass. We're the second highest recyclers of glass in Europe, because we put 1,900 bottle bank sites out there that has made it easy to recycle. The same ways, if you look at...
But it's not reusing, is it? It's breaking it down and recycling it.
But likewise in glass in those countries, they're not being reused. There's very little returnable bottles in any country now. There used to be. A lot of the major producers don't do it anymore because it has a greater carbon footprint than actually using the recyclable cullet.
Reusing has a greater carbon footprint than recycling.
Because in terms of breaking it down, in terms of the constant usage of it, it's not ideal. But if you then look at plastic, for instance, and the point that Oisin made, we have a higher recycling rate of all our materials than Norway. We're very close with Sweden. We're ahead of Finland. Countries that have had deposit return in place for over 40 years.
Our overall plastic recycling is the same as it was in 2009. It's 36%, and we have to get it up hugely in the next 10 years. But the other issue with plastic bottles is litter. We see them, as we used to see with plastic bags. We now see plastic bottles on our beaches and in our streams and rivers and around our countryside. And when you have a deposit return scheme, that doesn't happen because the thing becomes valuable. It gets hoovered up by people across the country. We run it for festivals during the summer, and we see what happens when you have a deposit on the plastic glasses. They come out of the waste stream. You get a pure waste stream that can be reused or recycled. You also need basically to be paying more, not us, but the producers need to be paying more. We have some of the lowest rates. Repak members pay much less for putting a ton of plastic on the market here than they would in Denmark or Germany or Belgium. We only pay €89 per tonnes. So they should be funding it. Plus the pure recycling scheme product you get from the deposit return scheme, that's worth more when you have that pure stream of plastic.
If we're putting all the pressure on consumers to recycle stuff, is that not the wrong way around? Should we not be saying to producers, reduce the... If I want to buy apples, I don't want the foam on the bottom. I don't want the soft plastic on the top. I want the apples.
Absolutely. And by the way, like, there's a huge... I very much welcome being here tonight. I welcome the fact that Shop and Drop, that creates awareness. Anything that creates awareness and actually brings it to the fore. We wouldn't be here...
This is the leaving the packaging behind, which happens on Saturday.
Because we wouldn't be here tonight, Claire, if that didn't happen. So it's driving this agenda. Excuse me. So in relation to the...
But if the packaging was reduced...
Yeah, but what's happening at the moment
to a very low level, Repak wouldn't exist.
But absolutely. But unfortunately, we do need packaging. There's a reality in terms of what packaging is needed, be it plastic, paper, or any of the other materials. You just can't bring a product to market without having it packaging, be it food, be it vegetables, be it whatever. But coming back, just to finish on that point, because this is very important, there's 1 million tonnes of packaging on the market. We actually recycle nearly 700,000 tonnes. And irrespective of what Oisin says,
there be 1 million tonnes of packaging on the market?
But the relativity of that is to reduce as much as possible of that. And that is the number one objective that we in Repak have. And the second then is to make sure that all the material that's on the market is recyclable. So the point in litter is a slight diversion from the core issue, because even in Sweden, where you have deposit return and high recycling rates, they also have a significant litter problem, where in 2013 they increased their litter fines to 150 kroner.
I mean, the bottom line is that people and shoppers are doing their best. We bring our own bags now that there's a plastic bag tax, but we're actually bringing more plastic home because you don't have the choice to choose fruit and vegetables and other products in supermarkets without plastic. Supermarkets have woken up to this because people have put pressure on them, but we haven't seen lasting action to actually reduce packaging yet. That's what we want to see in the next year.
OK.
But we're doing a lot on this at the moment. We're doing a lot on this at the moment in terms of testing other means of collection of it, but also we're going to be introducing a fee modulation. That's actually where, if a plastic isn't recyclable, producers will be paying a lot more money.
OK.
So the basis of the more recyclable, the less they'll pay. For
a full list of the rigid plastic tins and cans, paper and cardboard that can go into Irish recycling bins, see recyclinglistireland.ie. Thank you both very much indeed for being with us.